Welcome to Friday. It's time for another review. This is week number 9, investments. And I wanted you to see that I posted an update to the assignment in Blackboard, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. So if you haven't done your assignment yet, just check that out. Otherwise, just watch this video and make sure you do what I'm about to tell you to do when you get ready to jump in and finish your assignment. So here we have a student who basically we go to retirement probability, which is what you're going to do, and you see 0 probability of success. So this is okay. One of the things I wanted you to do is tell me a few things you could do to move the needle on your probability of success. And I know I didn't give you much instruction about how to do this. I wanted to know, what you would come up with. So a few students came up with some really good ideas and understood the assignment, but the majority of students really missed some things. So I'm just going to show you how to work on this assignment. So we start here with the probability of success, and you see these action items at the bottom. So it's all pretty straightforward, hopefully. These are the inputs that are going to change the probability of your success. So you have a monthly retirement, that's after you retire. And then we have pre-retirement living expense. So these are inputs. And then we have this 401k. That was part of your assignment, was just to take advantage of that perfect investment. Assume that you're in your dream job and you're making a salary commensurate with your dream job, commensurate with your major in college. So those were the assumptions. And then you were just turned loose to go and basically take a screenshot of this section of your plan. So here's what was missing. So in this case, you saw that we had no 401k and no taxable investments. And I don't even remember, before I changed this, what the pre-retirement living expense was, but that's an important number that has a pretty big impact on your plan. So let me show you where you can't edit these things here. You have to go to the data cards to do that. So we go to profile, and we have net worth, and this is where you put your home and your loans, and you link to your accounts. So that's where you go for that. But then you also have goals. So we have retirement age, retirement expenses, and this is where this student did a great job of outlining the retirement expenses. So that's great. And then we've got healthcare costs in retirement and long-term care costs. And I didn't really ask you to do that, but if you did, good for you. But then I think what most students missed, or some did anyway, is these next 3 tabs: income, savings, expenses. So salary, most of you got that. That's great. So that's the salary or the income data card. And you can add income here if you have any other income, but I doubt that you do. Next is the savings data card. And this is where this student, for example, contributed nothing. So you can contribute a percentage of your salary. You can give it an annual dollar amount or a maximum contribution. You get to choose. And I left that up to you on purpose so that you could choose. But if you chose 0, that was a bad choice. I didn't really leave that up to you. I gave you some very specific instructions to fund your 401k based on your salary. Now you get to decide, do you want to put in the minimum like we talked about with the perfect investment, or you're at least putting in the amount the company is matching, or you can max it out, or you can do something in between. And I didn't really tell you, how to do that. And so this needs to be fixed for many students, and I'm maybe not deducting points this week, but I promise you this: when you do your capstone assignment, I'm going to be paying attention to this section, and if you don't update it now, you're going to lose points on that big assignment. So pay attention to this video, share it in GroupMe, help your friends who aren't paying attention, because that's important. And that's one reason this plan is failing miserably. So there's no taxable investment, there's no 401k investment. So we've gone through now the income card, the savings card. Now let's look at the expense card. And this again is one of the areas that I'm going to be looking at closely when I grade your capstone assignment. Now, I don't really care if you want to just enter a monthly expense here, or if you want to create this worksheet. In this case, the student did neither. It's important to understand that in the expenses, the pre-retirement living expenses, this is basically what is your budget. Now, when we go to the dashboard and we go to the budget, if you've entered cards, if you've entered your credit cards here and you've imported those, you've linked those accounts, that's great. Then you're going to have access to this dashboard and this budget tool, and that's going to help you figure out how much you're spending month to month, and that's awesome. But that doesn't integrate into your plan. What integrates into your plan to create the projections to give you a retirement analysis is profile expenses. So if you're using the budget tool, that's great, but you need to take that number, what is your monthly expense, and you need to put it here. And this is, again, an important part of what I'm looking for. Living expense, pre-retirement living expense is an important part of your plan. So this is where I'm going to be looking and just trying to use as good a judgment as possible to figure out, did you get it? In other words, here we have bills and utilities, $700, $300 for auto and transport, and then a whole list of other categories. And I'm not, $350 for grocery. I'm not going to nitpick this, but several students had $1,500 a month in living expenses based on the assumption that you're making $60,000 a year. That's going to be a deduction. That's just not reasonable. So use just do a little research and make sure that you're using reasonable expenses, because developing more accurate expenses will make a huge difference in the accuracy of your plan, because what you're doing is you're saying, these are my expenses, and you're plugging that in for many years in the future. Same with income. So when we look at income, you can say, how much is your income going to increase? That's an important number. Give it a little thought. And so this is the basic data cards for your financial plan. And this week's assignment, I really threw it out there to see what you could do, and hopefully this assignment review video will help you recognize some of the things that you may have missed that will be very important ingredients in your capstone assignment. So I'm going to finish this now, and I'll see you Tuesday in our Zoom meeting. Have a great week. And again, if you turn this assignment in by Friday at noon, actually it's a little after that right now, and I'm still working on the cues, so you may have gotten lucky, you're going to get your full points for turning it in early. But that doesn't mean you didn't miss things, okay? You may have missed some things, but I'm not deducting now. I'm going to expect that because you're an A student and because you're willing to do the work early, that you'll go back and make the corrections. And if you don't, you'll get caught on your capstone. So fair warning. Make sure you've got your goals input, your income, your savings, your expenses. Those are very important cards in your financial plan. So I'll share more next week, and I'll show you how you can move the needle. I'm going to show you next week how to move the needle. But in the meantime, I want you to think about what are some things you can do in your plan to move the needle. And I'm really eager to share those with you, because there are a few small things you can do that will make a big difference in terms of the probability of success in your plan. So take a stab at it yourself. See what you can think of that you can do in your plan, a few small things. Spend a little extra time, and you'll be way ahead of the game in the capstone. So I'm looking forward to seeing how you go in tweak your plan to move the needle. That's really what I'm looking for when you share what you learned in this assignment. I'm looking to see if you're at that point yet where you're able to think through, oh yeah, this would make a difference. Obviously, if you're contributing to your 401k, that's going to make a difference. If you're not doing that, if like this student, you didn't include your 401k, it's starting to rain and I'm on my motorcycle. That's not great. If you did like this student and you put a 0 here, that explains a big reason why you have an absolute 0 probability of success. So this student, thanks for doing your assignment early, but it's a fail. And that's why, because you didn't even put in your 401k. So pay attention to some of those details. They're important. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you soon.